So first of all, thanks Exchange for Media. Thanks Anurag Suparna. And I think we have a wonderful panel. And thanks Amish, you've already set the stage. And as you were speaking, I took some points which I thought will be very nice to discuss. Actually, I want to put the marketeers in the dock today. And don't hate me for that, Kakun. Huh? Yeah, because see, we normally have all marketing people, but and even though Amish has been a marketeer, let's take advantage of his current storytelling skills and see what we are doing in our marketing world. So I think we all keep debating between marketing being art and a science, and I think when Amish asked how many of you are science graduates or MBAs, or I realized that a lot of education which we do prepares us for the left brain, yeah. And then we study Kotler, and then we get models, and then we are taught segmentation, and 5Ps become 6P, 4P, 7P. And then we start our jobs. And now is hitting a very big new trend called the big data. So if as a marketer you don't know big data, then you're missing out on something. And big data is all about, again, science and left brain and data analysis. So my question, and this would be a very good start to the discussion, is what Amish said, that he went to 20 publishers and got rejected, and he went to the last one who said that if you make changes in the philosophy or some changes, then I will publish it. And he said no, because I deeply personally believe in what I've written and the product. Right, Amish? Do we do that as marketeers? What about the research we do? Marketeers want validation. So let me ask this way, aren't marketeers scared? If a marketer has one idea, but if the world does not believe in it, like 20 publishers rejected, if the team says no, if the boss says no, if the research says no, but you believe in it, what do we do as marketeers? What do we do? I mean, and if a junior comes to you and says, I have an idea, I mean, the junior is like, let's say, an Amish Tripathi, and with an idea which can become big. How do we deal with it in the marketing fraternity? I would love to have all of y'all's take on that. Starting Kakon or Addy with you. And I'm going to end everything what we do with Amish, because I think the best for the last.
Yeah, so I'm in the business of making content. And I think there are two ways as I look at research. The whole big data thing should help you find trends. I think sometimes, very rarely do you have an idea that comes out of no understanding of the audience or the environment. Big data gives you a sense of trends, and I think ideas that are born out of some knowledge of the direction which wind is blowing, I think that's something that's interesting for us to use, and that's how a lot of content ideas are born. But I think research also, you have to look at it in two parts. There's, post-research, you make a piece of content and you show it to consumers. I've been making content now for almost a decade. Very rarely have I found consumers telling you what they would like to hear or what they would like to see. Research largely tells you what are the gross negatives, what are the spaces you should stay away from. So I think the pre-side is trend hunting. If you can, use that data, play with it smartly to find out which way you can create something, that's useful. But at the end of the day, I think we've all got to, believe that we're creating the best, and some amount of gut and conviction is there. And I think we were talking about this earlier. A lot of our companies talk about innovation being a key value. I think unless you're ready to celebrate failure as much as you're ready to celebrate success, then you can't really create an environment where you're fostering innovation.
Very well said. Kakon?
I think I kind of completely agree with what Addy had to say here. One of the things that we are doing more and more often is to listen. I think that's, listening has now become very much part of a marketer's life. Progressively so, because we're so much more in touch with our consumers than earlier. There are newer ways to be in touch, not just today people are able to express opinions about your product and about everything that you do related to your product very, very quickly. So for you to, as a marketer, to be able to respond or to be able to take that in and, figure that out in what your next actions are, listening becomes very critical. And I think that's That's something that we are doing as marketers more and more often.
Hi. Just a slightly different perspective on using data. I'm a engineer and MBA by background, and I've built analytics functions, so have been heavily using data in all of my roles. And I'm in financial services where data is used much more than some of the other industries maybe. So it's important. Like you said, big data is becoming the buzzword. What's important is that you have to be clear on what data are you using at what stage, and what are you going to do with it once you kind of get the data. How would you decide basis that? Like Amish very rightly said, that if you're building a product, or if, like you said, somebody comes up with an idea which you feel strongly about, you want to test it, so there's limited value in doing research prior. But for example, what we do is, when we do anything related to marketing or advertising, we're very clear that if you're doing an experiment, how will we measure, get the data, and then use it to kill an idea if it's not working. Because a post facto result of an idea, how it's performing in the market with the actual consumers, can be very, very easily obtained if you're very clear about how you're using the data. So data can be used at all life stages or different stages